Ilia Topuria, the featherweight champion in the UFC, with one of the scariest histories in the MMA world. What I'm about to show you might just convince you that Ilia Topuria will become a bigger deal than the Notorious Conor Mcgregor. Ilia was born in 1997 in Germany, making him 27 years old. He started wrestling at age 7 when him and his family moved to Georgia. He had an older brother who we will talk about in a bit as well, but having an older brother is a good start for an MMA career. At age 15, they moved to Spain, and that's where his MMA journey started. Ilia then started his professional MMA career in 2015 at the age of 18 years old. His first fight was against Francisco Javier Asprilla under the company WCW, West Coast Warriors. So get this, in round 1 of his debut fight, submission, triangle choke. His second fight is scheduled 1 month later in May of 2015 against Khalil Martin. Get this, submission, rear naked choke in round 1 again. Then there was a 1-year gap until his next fight in May of 2016, where he once again submitted Daniel Vasquez, you guessed it, a rear naked choke in round 1. His next 4 fights stretched between 2016 and 2019, where he won every single fight with a submission, and only 1 fight lasted longer than 1 round. The UFC probably started to take notice of Ilia and realized he's something special, but the UFC probably needed a little bit more. They don't just need another Khabib. His next fight was scheduled for 15 November 2019 against a guy called Steven Goncalves. Ilia was already great, but this fight would set that in stone. In round 1, at 3 minutes and 42 seconds, Ilia proved he's more than just a submission artist. He ditched submissions, knocked out Steven, proving he's one of the best that there has ever been. He finally got his big break. The UFC called, and man, did Ilia answer. UFC Fight 1. In December of 2019, Alexander Volkanovski won the featherweight title. Just about 1 year later, Ilia Topuria's debut fight happened on 10 October 2020 against Joseph Zalal. He won that unanimously with a decision. This was his first fight that went longer than 2 rounds. Also, his first fight that he did not finish, that had to go to the judges. Was the UFC proving to be a bit too much for Ilia? His second fight got scheduled, and this time he left his chill pills at home. And boom! In round 1, only 2 minutes and 30 seconds into the fight, he knocked out Damon Jackson. Third UFC fight, 11 July 2021. He faces Ryan Hall at UFC 264 on the Conor vs Dustin number 3 card. And boom, knocks out Ryan Hall in round 1 with 13 seconds left on the clock. And then it all went downhill. Psych, 4th UFC fight, 19 March 2022 against Jai Herbert. At this time, Ilia was still not ranked in the top 15 of the UFC featherweight. And with that motivation kept in mind, boom, KOs Jai Herbert in round 2. Still, however, he did not get ranked in the top 15. 5th UFC fight in December of 2022, he had to face Bryce Mitchell, who was ranked number 14 at the time. This was his big chance. Ilia decided to go back to his old ways. He submitted Bryce in round 2 to secure the win, making it look easy. This guy is absolutely insane, and he's climbing the ranks like it's a piece of cake. By the start of 2023, he's on a 13-fight win streak, which pushed him to number 10 on the featherweight rankings. Now back to his brother. Did you know that Ilia's brother is also signed to the UFC? Alexander Topuria is a bantamweight and was signed to the UFC in 2024, but he has not had his first fight, so definitely someone to look out for. 6th UFC fight. In June of 2023, with a 13-0 record, he got scheduled to fight Josh Emmett, who's ranked number 6 in the featherweight division at that time. And this proved to be a tough one. This was the first time that Ilia main evented a UFC Fight Night event. Josh Emmett at the time had a record of 18 wins and only 3 losses. Josh was the first one to throw punches, and for majority of the first round, it kind of seemed like he dominated to me. But Ilia had that predator look all throughout the round, like he was just casually waiting to end Emmett's career with a massive knockout. On the judges' scorecards, 2 judges gave the first round to Ilia and 1 judge to Emmett, and then came total domination. Every single round between round 2 and 5 on every single judge's scorecard was for Ilia. They kept at it for 5 rounds, and after 5 rounds, Ilia Topuria is still undefeated and unanimously wins the fight. He's done it all and he's proven he's the best. And the best need to fight for a title to prove they are as good as they say they are. Alexander Volkanovski at this time has been destroying the featherweight division for years. During all 6 fights in the UFC for Ilia, which took 3 years, Alexander Volkanovski was the featherweight champion. During those 3 years of Ilia's rise, Volk defended his title for 5 times in a row. The age gap was big. Volkanovski was 35 and Ilia was 27 when they had their championship fight scheduled at UFC 298 in February of 2024. This would really be Ilia's biggest challenge yet. Volk might be older, but he's a massive force to reckon with and has way more experience. The fight started off great for Volkanovski, landing a ton of kicks and shots, but Ilia once again was stalking his prey. And then round 2 came, and Volk seemed to relax. Ilia decided to show the world who the best featherweight in the world is. And boom, knocked out Old Man Volk in the 2nd round, proving he's the best of the best, shocking the entire MMA community. One of the biggest upsets in MMA for 2024. Ilia is undefeated, the featherweight champion of the world, and out of 15 of his fights, he's only had 2 fights that went longer than 2 rounds. In his next fight, he will be putting the featherweight title on the line against Max Holloway, who by the way has an even more dark history. Check the video linked above to see how Max Holloway became one of the biggest MMA stars.